The she-camel will drink water one day, they drink from the water another. But the she-camel was an added bonus for them. Why? The she-camel would be able to provide them with milk that the whole community would be able to be looked after. Even that she-camel, when it would walk, the sheep and the cattle would run away because they've never seen an animal that large in its life. So they would run away. That she-camel will provide with milk. You would think the people would be grateful because Prophet Salih said, what? He said, this is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you have a sign of Allah on earth, do not kill it. Protect the sign of Allah when it's with you on earth. He said to them what? He said to them, فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ. This is the camel which Allah has bought for you as a sign. They came forward, many of them started believing in Salih's message. They came, they said, Prophet Salih, we believe in what you say. But there were always a few mischief makers like in any community. And the ahadith tell us in the people of Thamood, there were how many mischief makers? There were 9 mischief makers. These mischief makers in the people of Thamood, they noticed everybody suddenly following Salih. Many are changing from Salih's message. So what did they start doing? They started coming out first saying what? Our sheep and our cattle are being scared by your she-camel. He said, are you serious? A few days ago you said to me, if your Lord exists, let a she-camel come out. I let you have a she-camel, and now you're telling me our sheep and our cattle are scared? As in, haven't you seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show you a miracle right in front of you? It wasn't so much about the miracle. Sometimes when the human being loses his status, he doesn't care what happens around him. The human being, when he's losing his status, is the worst of creations. Because he doesn't care how many signs Allah has given him. It goes in one ear and out of the other. He said to them, what do you mean it's scaring your she-camel? They said, the she-camel scares our sheep, our cattle. We don't want the she-camel there. Prophet Salih warned them again. He said, this she-camel is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not kill the she-camel, protect it. From these 9 who were making mischief, one of them, and only one, was the cause of the instigation of the killing of the she-camel. His name, bear with me in this part. His name was Qaddar. This Qaddar in the beginning had no involvement, but there was a lady he loved, but he couldn't marry. And her name was Qudan. Her name was Qudan. He loved this lady, but there was no way he could marry her. She was jealous of Prophet Salih and the fact that Prophet Salih is gaining so much popularity. She came to him. She said, oh Qaddar. He said, yes. She said, Qaddar, if you kill the camel of Salih, although I know it's a sign from Allah, I'll let you have me and you can marry me straight away. He said, is that it? She said, yes, that's the only dowry. My dowry is that you kill the camel of Salih. This Qaddar led a group of people in the middle of the night. Salih's she-camel was sleeping. The Quran says, كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا إِذْ انْبَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا. Ashqa means what? Means the worst of the people of Thamood was the one who went and killed what? Went and killed the camel of Salih. The camel had stood up. It noticed these people who were coming. The camel wondered what's going on here. It's the middle of the night. It tried to protect its offspring. They threw something on its neck. They managed to sever the neck of the camel. Then they killed the offspring. They came to Prophet Salih. They said, now are you against us? He said, I told you, do not kill the sign of Allah on earth. That camel was a sign of Allah. Who is it that killed? The person Qaddar said, I have killed it. Quran mentioned in بَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا. The worst of them was the one who killed the she-camel. Prophet Salih said, I warn you of a punishment that will come unless there is a repentance. Do you know what they said to him? They said something beautiful. I never want you to remember this verse because history repeats itself even on this verse. In Surah 27 verse 48, then Salih, we will kill you and your relatives. Because sometimes if you kill one man alone, his message may continue with his relatives. So you continue by destroying his relatives, isn't it? When a prophet says to you, I don't ask from you anything except love for my relatives, it's because he knows that even though I'm going to die, they're going to try and kill them, because he knows the message will continue through the relatives, isn't it? You found that they told Salih, we will not just kill you, we'll kill your relatives as well. Prophet Salih said to them, repent, change. You've killed the camel, the sign of Allah. They didn't change until they were seized and the whole nation was destroyed. You find, why were they destroyed? The overflow of sexual desire in one person. He had this lady by the name of Qutam. She tempted him. She said to him, my mahar, if you want to marry me, is to kill the camel of Salih, is to finish the camel off. You notice, you ask yourself the question, why did Rasulullah say the worst of the killers of the ancients is the killer of the camel of Salih, but the worst of the killers of the latter is the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Why? Why would Rasulullah connect the two together? The connection is extremely clear. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen many times in his life would refer to the people of Thamud. For example, in Dua Mashlul, a dua which many of us recite when a person is paralyzed or they are ill, Imam Ali mentions the people of Ad and Thamud, how they were seized by a thunderbolt from Allah. In Sermon 200 of Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali mentions it took one person in the tribe of Thamud to cause the destruction of a whole nation. Isn't that true? As in, sometimes don't think just because you are good that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may not come forward with tests. Sometimes you may find if the good do not speak out against injustice, Allah will keep sending His tests. In Sermon 200 of Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen mentioned that one person from the people of Thamud caused the destruction of the whole nation. But in Sermon 180 of Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, in reference to the Khawarij who fought him at Nahrawan, mentioned, "O Allah, take your mercy away from the Khawarij in the way you took your mercy away from the people of Thamud." Many references came from Imam Ali about Thamud, but many people asked, why is Ali ibn Abi Talib constantly referring to the people of Thamud? Because history repeats itself. How? Look at the story of how Amir al-Mu'mineen was killed. And the names of the people are exactly the same, and the reasons are exactly the same. Look at the story. Look how history repeats itself. Always study history because it could come back to repeat itself with you. When Nahrawan finished, Amir al-Mu'mineen knew he had enemies within the state. He knew it very well. With some of these enemies, some of them did not know really about his character. Many of you have heard the story of when he came back from Nahrawan. He saw a lady standing outside and she's stirring a bowl with some hot water. He said to her, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" She said, "I'm just stirring this bowl. May God curse Ali ibn Abi Talib." He said to her, "Sorry?" She said, "May God curse Ali ibn Abi Talib." He said, "So why did you say that?" She said, "That man took my brother and my husband with him to Nahrawan. He came back alive and they are dead. If I see him one day, I'll make it clear to him what I feel." He said to her, "Well, I'm sure he's not like that, nor was that his intention. But what's your situation now?" She said, "Look at me, I'm a mother with orphans. I'm a mother with orphans with no one to protect." He looked at her, what did he say? He said to her, "Do not worry. Can I help you in any way? What are you doing stirring the bowl?" She said, "I'm stirring the bowl because I'm making them think there's food when there isn't any food whatsoever." He said, "I'll come in every day and I'll help you make bread for your children." I tell you, if someone cursed you, would you do that? But he knew Nahrawan, bad rumors came out, which weren't true about him. He would help her every day until one day the daughter's coming home, she sees him leaving. She can't believe Ali ibn Abi Talib came to our house. Amir al-Mu'mineen came to our house. So she went straight to her mother. "Mother, did you see who was at our house?" She goes, "I don't know, a very nice man. A man who comes every morning to help me. But I do not know who he is." She said, "Mother, that's Ali ibn Abi Talib." She said, "That's Ali ibn Abi Talib?" "Yes." She said, "I've been cursing him in front of him every morning, but never once has he been rude to me. He just shows me the best of respect." She went running to him, "Oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, forgive me. I did not mean what I said. I did not know about your character." He replied, "Do not worry. I only ask you to ask Allah to forgive me, just in case I hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt your husband or your brothers. They came on the path of haqq with me on Nahrawan. Allah will reward them." There was that group of people who didn't know. But then there was the other leaders of Nahrawan, the Khawarij. They met up in Mecca. When they met